I had a 7-round mock draft that I did through Pro Football Network. It's the second one that I've done with them. They shared a nice graphic with their mock draft simulator of my first round picks. We don't need to go through any of the stuff beyond the first round because then we're like really getting into the minutia. I honestly believe, and it was a fun exercise to do the 7-rounder, but anyone who's projecting beyond that point, you're throwing darts. There's not like a total amount of consistency. There's a bunch of guys that are going to go undrafted that some people think will go drafted. A bunch of guys are going to go way sooner or later than you expect. One thing I did really find funny just generally about this exercise, Sean.
Yeah.
The response that you get from people whenever you do a mock draft, and especially when I did a 7-round one, was interesting. The just general outrage that you get from NFL fans that are pissed off by hypotheticals.
That is shocking.
I always laugh over this. I think it's always an entertaining part of the pre-draft process. It's like, man, like, why are you getting so worked up over this? I had one guy from England who was shitting on my Arizona Cardinals picks, and I held restraint because I always decide it's not worth getting in with a guy that's got 100 followers because I just look like a jaded asshole. But I almost said back to him, have you even seen a football game in person and you have a problem with my picks?
I understand that. I think, well, you did 7 rounds of full analysis, and you didn't just skimp out and do 1 to 3 rounds of analysis.
No, it's 3 rounds of analysis and then 7. Do you know how long that would have taken me? Do you know how long it took me to do 3 rounds of analysis and 256 picks? You give me shit for that? 2 to 5 sentences per.
It's my favorite bit that draft guys do at this point in the cycle. You're all on the same internal clock, pre-combine, all everything else following the combine. It's you're testing the waters. You're not trying to throw a bunch of darts, put a bunch of effort into 4 through 7 when you don't know in a couple weeks whether or not those guys are even going to be draftable.
What is this?
It's just a little trait that I've noticed from as the mayor of NFL Draft Twitter. I've noticed that some of my guys,
the least active mayor of NFL Twitter,
yeah,
as you claim.
That's where I'm at, and I understand that people are going to be obviously looking deeper as it grows closer, but I think 3 rounds full analysis mid-February, yeah, it's a good day's work. And this first round, I'm being serious.
The tone.
I'm sorry if my tone. I'm not trying to tone
Asshole.
you here, but yeah, you changed some stuff up. I'm going to lead with my team. We're going to kind of jump all across the board here.
Yeah, just go wherever you feel.
First go around, you had Mykel Williams, and now you have Mike Green as the Atlanta Falcons pick to solve their.
I'm only going edge
woes.
going forward. There's too many edge prospects for them not to go edge. If they go another position, I'd be shocked. That doesn't make any sense.
So what bumped Mike Green up and Mykel Williams down?
I wanted to just go in a little bit of a different direction. My analysis on the pick, and you had shared this criticism when we talked about the first one, where I said that Mykel Williams is a really gifted prospect, but he was super unproductive in college. He does not have a lot of sack production, which you were jaded by, which was totally understandable. So my thought was, okay, Mike Green, he is not in the 8.5, 9 out of 10 athleticism, but Mike Green's probably more of an 8. He's still a good athlete. He was a lot more productive at Marshall. He had multiple games against Power 4 opponents where he had good production. He had a really good game against Ohio State. He's got really good hands. It's just a different style rusher that I thought would have made a little bit more sense because of this weird hatred for non-productive edge rushers that came from you.
I would just hope that the edge rushers are productive personally. But I like this. Okay. I loved what I saw from Mike Green at the Senior Bowl. His attacking of the tackles was perfect. Brought all the juice that I wanted to see from an edge rusher. That's how you show out. Off the field, there's rumblings. I haven't cared much to dive into the rumblings.
I have heard about this. It's not. I mean, it's not like it's not public. He had a off-the-field incident when he was at UVA.
Okay.
Alleged. I don't know what the full outcome of it was.
So that's what I saw also.
Yeah. Yes.
All right.
So there's validity to that. I don't think it's going to impact his draft stock because it has not been one of those things that has really carried a lot of water.
Is that more...
Because it was his freshman year.
Is that more valid than the James Pierce Jr. angriness that we've seen circulating, because I can't confirm that. Basically, a guy tweeted out that he went to high school with James Pierce Jr.
It was a burner account.
Yeah,
I don't trust.
That's what I'm following. If there was any smoke,
there's this bit that people do, which I think is a good bit, where people just tweet really mean, negative things about prospects and say like, "Yeah, this guy's a really bad guy," because they want him to fall. Whatever is on Twitter, if it's not coming from a verified NFL source, I'm not trusting it.
Okay, well, I saw that buzz.
I'm sure you would love for James Pierce Jr. to slide
if he could fall, that'd be
15?
perfect. Oh, if he slid all the way there, that's great. Okay, let's just get to pick number 1 here. You got some hubris, don't you? With the Giants trading up for Cam Ward at their quarterback, thinking that the Giants are a quarterback away from fixing their problems.
That was not my logic at all.
What was your logic here behind the Giants trading up for a quarterback?
Desperate as hell.
Okay.
Joe Shane, Brian Daboll are on their last legs. This is their last chance. So the way that you save yourself is not by going and getting Matthew Stafford.
Yes.
It's getting Cam Ward. It's Cam Ward coming in and making a lot of really good plays and looking exciting and gifted. Maybe they just missed the playoffs. That is how you buy yourself some time. Say they went, if they went 7-9, or no, wait,
7-10,
7-10. Sorry, I forget how many games are played now.
We got 17 with 18.
If they went 8-9,
yeah,
and Cam Ward was leading the offensive rookie of the year discussion, I think that they would both save their jobs. So that's why you trade up. The trade package was for this year's second and next year's second, and then swapping picks at 1 and 3, which is pretty standard. I looked up and kind of looked into like, if someone was only moving a couple spots to move up to 1 and you're only moving back to 3, like how does that really impact the draft compensation? It's not, it doesn't. You don't even need to send a future first to move up that just a couple of spots.
I gotcha. I figured you guys were going to go with another bridge guy for another year and try to actually.
No, I hope not.
Make the trenches better, which you need somehow still, which is shocking. And then I guess Tennessee's not getting the quarterback first round. Travis Hunter at 3. Who's their quarterback next year? Are they picking up Rodgers?
I feel like they would be a free agent team. That was kind of my logic with.
That's fair. I'm not picking on that pick. I'm just working through it here mentally. The Colts, let's jump to them. 14, you have them taking Tyler Warren from Penn State.
I got a lot of pushback on this one.
You should.
Why?
Because a tight end like Tyler Warren is a luxury selection. And the Colts...
They have a good roster.
They have a much bigger issue. And I think that they...
Okay, the bigger issue is Anthony Richardson playing like shit and being unhealthy. How do you fix that? You get him another player to throw the ball to.
I would hope that they would work offensive line draft, work defensive line draft in the trenches.
Their O-line is not.
They're not. It's not a bad O-line. It's not the Giants' 28th in pressure rates. Give a rookie quarterback that.
I thought about it, and it just doesn't make like a ton of sense for me because I think most spots on their offensive line, it's relatively secure. It's not great, but they have a decent offensive line.
I don't hate it. It's just not the first thing I would address in Indy. Do I love it? I'm going to love a lot of places that you put Tyler Warren in the draft cycle. Okay. I will. He's a very good player, very good tight end. He seems like a guy that would add at just about any spot opposed to detract. So it's going to be a safe pick anywhere. But I think that Indy has bigger fish to fry than getting a tight end in the first round. They need to actually protect Anthony Richardson and see if he's worth investing in a whole bunch of talent on the outside. Yeah.
I didn't think that their offensive line was so weak last year, though.
I mean, he was getting touched a lot.
Will Fries, but how much does that have to do with him holding on to the ball too long? How much is that actually?
I need to see if he can handle a clean pocket because he has the physical traits for me to want to invest. But if he can't handle at least a clean pocket, then somebody else that we can bring in will work within that clean pocket.
That's why my priority mentally is let's get him more options so he makes decisions quicker and he gets the ball out quicker. Because Will Fries is a good guard and he's going to be a free agent this upcoming year. He's not elite, but he's going to be one of the most highly sought after guard free agents. Braden Smith's a good tackle. Bernard Raymond's a good tackle. Quentin Nelson we know is fantastic.
He's a dude, yeah.
So who am I taking if I'm drafting another offensive lineman? I'm doing it in like the third round. I'm not doing it in the first round.
Then maybe we go defensive.
The receiver room's pretty good too.
I think you work within the trenches. So you were making a bunch of good points for Richardson, but if
Gavin sent the most. That is a problematic pitch. Tyler Warren and Kyle Pitts with the. Did you see some guy? It was some PFF fantasy show. They did their typical batshit quote graphic thing, and it was draft Kyle Pitts early this year.
Yes. How
many times are we going to keep doing that?
It's way too early to be talking about drafting Kyle Pitts in fantasy. And I understand it's February.
Yeah,
and
we're in February and we're already putting that on people.
And I just got out. I just got out of the Kyle Pitts whirlpool where I'm just constantly being surrounded by suck. And now I'm out of it, and we can start thinking about golf and not Kyle Pitts and not Atlanta's offense. But now in February, people got to start making me depressed, starting to be getting the thought of if this guy truly was a bustaroo and if we're going to have to completely reset at another position, or if maybe Michael Penix Jr. could completely resuscitate him, bring me life. It's too stressful. I'm trying to save that for September and onward, not in February. That can't be taking place. Another point for your mock draft, Joe. Love what you do with Dallas. You're keeping it simple.
I did this last time. I'm probably going to do it every single time.
I'll keep liking this pick. Ginty to Dallas solves a lot of their issues, makes their offense better, more dynamic, someone to focus on other than Dak Prescott. Also love Miami getting an offensive lineman in the first round. Smart play.
Yeah.
Like it.
That one has to be. They need
some
better
type of structure.
Because, I'm blanking on the, oh my God. The kid out of USC that they drafted in the first round, Austin Jackson. Why am I? No.
Oh, it sounds familiar.
No, I'm saying it wrong. God, my ball knowledge is awful. I woke up too early today to remember his name. But their offensive line has been incredibly underwhelming. It has not been good. They don't have any good tackles.
It was Austin Jackson.
It was Austin Jackson.
Look at you go. Yeah.
I mean, that's not an impressive pull. That's actually less impressive. I was not. He's not a good player. Their entire offensive line is below average. So Josh Simmons, to me, feels like that would be an immediate plug-in starter. He's my number one tackle in this class, but the injury he suffered, I think, is going to hurt him through this process. He's probably not going to be the first tackle selected. Give me one more point before we jump to talking Stafford.
You know what? You deviated on one that I loved in the first mock draft. This one bummed me out. That was Chargers going away from tight end and going to wide receiver.
They were both off the board. What am I supposed to reach on?
I don't know.
I'm not taking Harold Fannin or Elijah Arroyo in the first round.
I gotcha, but I really enjoyed the thought of Loveland going to Los Angeles. And I think if this was presented, I would hope that the Chargers would trade up to 20 to get him and keep that away from an in-division rival in Denver where you have him going. You're also a sicko for giving the Eagles a stud.
Princely Umami on?
You're a sicko because I know there's effort value stuff and there's sometimes he's got it, sometimes he doesn't, but the raw potential is there. He's just a mammoth of muscle and strength and explosiveness. It's just a sicko pick for the Eagles, and it would be so Eagles for them to just add another guy like this.
So two things there with the 2 points you just brought up. Princely Umami was really, when I was thinking that one through, all I could think about was, who's a guy that after the draft, the first round ends, we're just sitting there going, what the shit?
Yeah.
How did that guy end up on the Eagles? And after his rookie season, he'll end up with 8 sacks, and we'll be talking about how Princely Umami-Ellen's one of the next edge rushers up. Josh Sweat's going to be a free agent. There is no reason for them to re-sign him because of the amount of money it would take to re-sign him with the amount of good edge prospects in this class.
Yeah.
If Umami-Ellen's not on the board, there are plenty of options that they could still turn to at the back end of the first round. He fits exactly what the Eagles look for, though. These uber athletic, super juiced up guys that have ridiculous bend. Maybe they're not all the way there. Like Nolan Smith, wasn't totally all the way there at Georgia, and he was banged up, and he just didn't have a ton of sack production.
Sure.
But eventually he was going to work because you surround him by a bunch of other elite athletes. That is one of the most problematic picks in there. The Tetairoa McMillan one, I'm surprised by. That was one of the ones that was definitely the most surprised by the fake outrage, because a lot of people, they don't know how good or bad Tetairoa McMillan is. I don't think a lot of people realize how much of a gamble it is to draft one of these contested catch point guys. The list of those guys that have the same amount of contested catch rate as he does that have succeeded in the NFL, it's minuscule. Like N'Keal Harry and J.J. Arcega-Whiteside are in the same sentence as him in terms of his contested catch rate in college. That's not good.
They got some raw deals. I would say so. But if for the fake outrage for him, like if the Chargers,
and he's also, by the way, he's not going to the Steelers. They have Pickens already.
Yeah, if
the same profile.
If the Chargers could turn McMillan into Vincent Jackson 2.0 and just have him be their big athletic wideout, that works. I think there's also some old hurt from their previous big freak on the outside in Mike Williams, and how you saw the flashes, but it never all came together, and then he got shipped off.
He was an injury thing, though.
Oh, but when he was on, man, it was the Mike Williams show. So I understand that they're seeing, the compact wideout options that they have currently, and don't know if they want to go back into that jump ball era.
Yeah.
But I don't see how having some different levels on the outside that a defense would have to prepare for would hurt the Chargers.
Yeah, well, the outrage wasn't towards the Chargers making that pick. It was people were like what? Like you're out of your mind thinking he's going to fall all the way to 22. The receivers in this class aren't that good.
Oh yeah.
If anything, I think it's more or less ball knowing that people keep suggesting that Tedero McMillan is going to be a top 10 pick.
Yeah, there's not some big LSU guy from wide receiver U to go out and steal the show. It's not going to happen this year.